Welcome to our channel. Today, we're diving into the legendary helicopters that defined the Vietnam War. The Vietnam War is known as the Helicopter War. While helicopters played limited roles in both World War II and the Korean War, mostly for medical evacuation, medevac missions, helicopters were involved with nearly every facet of the war in Vietnam: troop transport, scouting, equipment hauling, search and rescue, and providing high-caliber air support for ground troops. Every branch of the U.S. military employed helicopters in Vietnam. In total, nearly 12,000 helicopters saw action in the war, and more than 5,000 were destroyed. Helicopters like the Bell UH-1 Iroquois, better known by its nickname, the Huey, were so ubiquitous in the jungles and rice paddies of Southeast Asia. Hueys logged more than 10 million flight hours that they've become a symbol of the Vietnam War. Here are 6 iconic helicopters from the conflict. 1. Bell UH-1 Iroquois, the Huey. The designation UH stands for Utility Helicopter, and no aircraft in the Vietnam War was more utilized than the Bell UH-1, the versatile workhorse known as the Huey. The first Hueys arrived in Vietnam in the late 1950s to run medevac missions, called dust-offs, for American military advisors. But it didn't take long for the Army to see the potential of the Huey as a new kind of war machine for a new kind of war. At Fort Benning, Army tacticians developed the concept of the air assault, a helicopter squadron of troop transports and gunships that could bring the battle to even the most remote location. Unlike Korean War-era helicopters, which were powered by internal combustion engines, the Hueys and other Vietnam-era choppers had jet turbines, called turboshaft engines, powering their rotors, making them lighter, faster, and much more powerful. As the war progressed, the Army ordered bigger Hueys for troop transport, known as slicks, and attack-style Hueys equipped with joystick-guided missiles and heavy machine guns. 2. Bell AH-1 Cobra, the Snake. Modified Hueys were effective as gunships, but they weren't built for the job. Back at Bell headquarters, engineers reimagined the Huey as a true fighter aircraft. The result was the Bell AH-1 Cobra, better known in Vietnam by its nickname, the Snake. The designation AH stands for Attack Helicopter, and the Cobra had the weaponry to back it up. The Cobra was flown by 2 airmen, like a World War II-era fighter. The pilot sat in the rear and could fire dozens of rockets from wing-mounted launchers. Up front, the co-pilot controlled a rotating chin turret, armed with a minigun and a grenade launcher. 3. Hughes OH-6 Cayuse, the Loach. The designation OH stands for Observation Helicopter, but don't let the name fool you. Flying an OH-6 was the single most dangerous job in Vietnam. Nicknamed the Loach for light observation helicopters, the OH-6 Cayuse was primarily a scouting aircraft that literally went looking for trouble. The OH-6 was deployed with AH-1 Cobras for what were known as hunter-killer missions. The Loach scouting helicopter would fly low over the jungle canopy, looking for signs of the enemy. Loach pilots flew so low that they'd be able to spot fresh footprints or a burning cigarette butt in the brush below. They also frequently drew enemy fire and relied on razor-sharp reflexes and luck to avoid catastrophe. Once the enemy position was spotted, the Cobra attack helicopters would swoop down and engage. 4. Boeing CH-47 Chinook. Next to the Huey, the twin-rotor Chinook is one of the most recognizable helicopters from the Vietnam War. CH stands for cargo helicopter, and the Chinook was built for hauling unprecedented payloads. The largest Chinook that operated in Vietnam had a gross weight capacity of 46,000 pounds. In the last days of the war, a single Chinook was able to evacuate 147 South Vietnamese refugees at once. In combat, the Chinook could seat 55 troops and carry thousands of pounds of heavy weapons and supplies. It had a large, powered cargo door in the rear and doubled as a loading ramp for rapid loading and unloading of equipment and men. 5. Sikorsky, HH-3E, the Jolly Green Giant. The aptly named Jolly Green Giant was the U.S. Air Force's most advanced combat search and rescue helicopter. This specialized aircraft had to check two important boxes: be capable of flying long distances to reach stranded soldiers and be able to defend itself under heavy fire. To extend its flight times, the Jolly Green Giant became the first helicopter capable of mid-air refueling. As for its combat specs, each Jolly Green Giant was equipped with two M60 machine guns, heavy armor, and a self-sealing fuel tank. But perhaps the most recognizable feature of the Jolly Green Giant was its rescue hoist, which lowered intrepid rescuers to the ground, often under heavy enemy fire. 6. Sikorsky, AS-64 Sky Crane. The twin-rotor Chinook was big and impressive, but even that oversized cargo hauler was only designated a medium-lift helicopter. For hoisting up really heavy payloads, like downed fighter jets and fully loaded shipping containers, the Army turned to the Sikorsky Sky Crane. The Sky Crane had what's known as a stick fuselage, meaning there was no internal cargo hold. When it wasn't carrying external cargo, it looked like a giant mechanical mosquito. But with 6 72-foot diameter rotor blades and a hoist rated for 20,000 pounds, there wasn't much that the Sky Crane couldn't lift. In a nifty adaptation, the Sky Crane could also lift a portable personnel pod with 90 men aboard. If you found this video valuable, don't hesitate to hit like button and subscribe to our channel.